Hello everyone and welcome on De Papier de Rêve channel. I'm Ursula and today I will be painting with you a landscape. But first I would like to address the quality audio for this video and for the next few weeks. It will be a little bit less good than usual because I'm not in my usual space, so I do not have my usual microphone to record my video, so I hope it will be okay for you, and please, if it's not okay, tell me in the comments. For this week video, I've chosen to paint a view from the Baltic Sea from Djurgården. It's an island in Stockholm, and there is just a little bit of land with herbs and grass in front of me, and then the Baltic Sea and some island a little bit further. This scene is in fall. It's a fall season here and almost a winter. So this landscape is a little bit foggy and a little bit mysterious, and I want to have this feeling on my painting. And in order to get this impression, I wet all my sheet of paper so that everything is very blurry for the first layer and the color mix on the paper and blend in one another. And I'm also working on a hot press paper so that all the colors are very smooth and all the blending and gradient also very smooth. For the sky, I'm using a mix of ultramarine blue and burnt sienna so that I can get a very nice grey, a little bit cooler because I'm using a little bit more ultramarine blue than burnt sienna. And I'm also using a little bit of blue because behind the clouds there is a little bit of blue sky in my view. And for this blue sky, I'm not using ultramarine blue because it's not a very natural blue for the sky, but I'm using Cobalt azur, which has a really nice tint of blue sky, and it's also granulating, and it's very interesting in this painting because ultramarine blue and burnt sienna are also granulating a little bit, so there is a unity in the texture in the skies. I'm also adding a little bit of yellow ochre around the area where the sun is, even if I'm not able to see the sun in my photo, in my reference picture. I can see some warmer color around this area, and that's why I'm using a little bit of, but really a little bit of yellow ochre. And I'm using also this yellow ochre in the foreground for all the green and all the grass I'm painting. I'm using a mix of ultramarine blue and yellow ochre, which gave a little bit of a murky green in a way, but I'm totally okay with that because I want this painting to be a little bit foggy, a little bit mysterious, so murky green and not very vibrant colors are very welcome. And I'm really using a few colors from my palette in this painting because I want this unity of color between the sky and the foreground and the water. I want all to be very unified, and I want a real feeling here, quite a specific feeling because I want it to be very murky, very foggy, so there is no bright colors, there is no vivid color, but everything is a little bit monotone in some sort, but I'm totally okay with that, and that's exactly what I want. In fact, at this point in my painting, I was very happy with what I had in front of me, because it's exactly what I was feeling when I see the scene in real life. So I'm very happy to be able to paint this scene as it was in my memory. And now it's time to let this layer to dry, and I will talk you through my supplies for this painting. So I'm using an Escoda Último 1 inch, a flat brush, and also a Rosemary & Co Série 39 half an inch dagger brush. And for the color I'm using ultramarine blue, yellow ochre, burnt sienna, Cobalt azur, and my paper is Canson Héritage in hot pressed. And I think you can hear my cat a lot in this audio. I'm so sorry, but she's very talkative and I cannot do anything against that. So now I'm starting my second and last layer, and I've decided to not touch the sky anymore because I think it was quite perfect as it was right now. It's quite light, but I like the effect, and the clouds are just very well blending with the sky area and the whiter cloud, so everything is looking very fine to me. So I'm not touching this area anymore. And in this second layer, I just want to add a little bit more detail in the foreground and a little bit of contrast too, so that this foreground is a little bit darker, which will make appear the background very much lighter, and it will convey this mysterious feeling. For almost all my painting, I've used a flat brush, a very big flat brush, and I think it's quite a nice brush to use for landscape, because with a big flat brush you have to find some tricks to make a little bit of details with this big brush, and I think it helps a lot in abstracting all the little detail you want to paint. You are a little bit obligated to work with this big brush in a different way, and it's a very useful tips when you want to make a scene a little bit more abstract. And this flat brush is also made with synthetic fiber, so it holds a little bit less water than a natural hair brush. So when you are working on wet with hot press paper, it's quite a nice trick to use a synthetic brush, because it will be a bit easier to manage the quantity of water on your paper and on your brush. And for all the grass and herbs and elements of nature I'm adding right now, I'm using a dagger brush with natural hair, because I think this brush in particular is very useful to make random marks on the paper, and it's a really good brush to make herbs and grass and all this sort of things. So it make my foreground a little bit more natural, and I like that. I wasn't very sure of myself when starting this painting, because there is not a lot of details here, but the feeling is really important, and I wasn't sure I was able to paint this feeling, but I think I managed to paint it quite well. I really like the sky that is very light, and there is not too much detail in it. I think it's just perfect, and everything in this painting have turned really nicely, and very nicer than I was thinking at first. It's always a little bit tricky for me to paint this kind of landscape, because there is not much details, and I'm always I always fear that it will be empty, but with the right colors, the right detail at the right place, everything looks very fine, and it's quite a nice style also to paint. And I think that also my limited color palette is really useful for painting my feelings, because everything work very well together, and there is also all the color speaking to each other, from the sky to the foreground. Everything is correlated and unified. So I think it's very important to minimize sometimes the color you are using to get a better feeling from the painting. And this video is now ending. Thanks for watching, and I hope you like it. Please check the blog post for more information about it and to see my reference picture, and tell me what you think in the comments. See you soon.